how much should you charge for your online coaching? So this is the pricing model that's allowed thousands of coaches to achieve financial freedom without becoming the Wolf of Wall Street on sales calls, and enabled them to free up time to focus on what they do best, which is impacting clients' lives rather than pointing at food on TikTok. You probably got into this game to be a coach, not a salesperson. So I want you to be able to free up time to do what you do best. Over the last 15 years, we have tried high ticket, we've tried low ticket, we've tried everything in between, £7 and £15,000 for our coaching. And I'm going to give you the short answer first for what is the best price for your online coaching. And then we can go into the specifics so that we can customize it for your offer. So drum roll, the optimal price for online coaching is £147 followed by £97 per month, slightly more if you're using dollars. So I'll explain why that is. And this might be less than you're used to. Maybe gurus have told you that you need to charge your worth or charge as much as you possibly can, which I'll explain why that's a stupid idea and instead how to price your coaching so that it works on autopilot, and why it's far more profitable than the high ticket stuff for fitness. So let's break it down. So step one is sell to the right person. That is your niche. Now, a lot of fitness coaches, when they move online, will try and sell to busy professionals because they think those are the people that have money. That is a child's view of what an adult looks like. We've covered the busy professionals thing elsewhere, but you just need to have a meaningful niche. Now, when you're pricing your program, you need to consider three things: what they get, how long they stay, and how long it takes you to sell and deliver. If you improve any one of those things, you become very profitable as an online coach. So number one, what they get. So you're helping people to go from A to B via C, and that is your offer. So you're helping people to bridge the gap from sad island to happy island, fat to shredded, stressed to calm, weak to strong, whatever. Your offer is the gap. It's the bridge to take them to where they want to be. And the value is how low did the price feel relative to the size of the gap that you're helping them with, the size of that result. Some of that is the perspective shift from the sales process and everything, but really the size of the result is related to the price that you can charge. As part of that, the price that you charge is proportional to the level of access to you that that person has, because that's a proxy for value and speed of result. So that's the niche, the offer, and the price. You go to the emergency dentist because you've got terrible toothache and you tell him like, oh, it's really hurting here. And he goes, okay, I can sort that out in about 5 minutes and it'll cost £1,000. You go, £1,000 to fix my tooth? And it's only going to take you 5 minutes. And he goes, well, I can take an hour if you like. Like, the point is, the value comes from solve my problem, please. You don't really care about the dentist's blood, sweat, and tears. Now, to make your life easier and their life easier, this decision about value needs to be a quick, easy decision for them. So if you think of it in terms of bands, so £50, something that's less than £50 that you see an advert for online, instant consideration. Yeah, sign me up, I'll buy it. I'm not going to sit and like mince about it for too long. If you saw an ad on Instagram for a little phone case that doubles up as a sword and it doubles up as a torch and as a vaginal speculum, you'd be like, yeah, I want that, just take my money. You're probably not going to go to bed that night and be like, I can really do with that vaginal speculum, but it is £27. I think that's a little bit spicy for me. You're just going to buy it. Price band number two, anything from £50 to £300. It's kind of a significant enough decision to think a little bit about. So you might end up needing a couple of bits of exposure to that thing. You maybe need to see the ads a few times before you go, all right, let's go, let's buy that thing. Usually that takes people between 2 and 14 days. They might just need a bit of convincing, a bit of romancing, see a couple of testimonials, just make sure that this thing will actually solve my problem. That would be the full vaginal speculum kit with multiple sizes and the head torch and the gloves and, you know, the full kind of premium deluxe version. Then price band number 3 is £1,000 plus. Usually that takes people 3 weeks or more to make that decision and multiple exposures. That would be the full bells and whistles done for you gynecology service. I don't know why I'm running with this analogy, but here we go. So at each price band, the level of expectation increases. and you need more sales skill, more marketing, more exposure to you, so that you can build up that value and that trust for somebody over time. As you build your skill and as you refine your offer, yes, you can increase your price because you know that that whole process is becoming more and more streamlined. But you earn the right to increase your price through your skill set, your marketing, and your product. Okay, so that's what they get. Remember, we have what they get, how long they stay, and how long it takes you to sell and fulfill. So number 2 is how long they stay. The 2 considerations for this are the upfront cash, so how much they pay on day 1, and then the lifetime value, how much they pay over their entire lifetime of working with you. So the upfront cash is about breaking even on your ads. So you spend £100 on ads and you receive £200 on day 1, brilliant. But the lifetime value is the real profit driver. So focusing too much on one can be detrimental to the other one. So price is basically a lever. If you change the price of any part of your business, that's going to affect your ad cost, your retention, the expectations that clients have, the level of cash you have on hand. It's kind of like one day you decide to wear pink socks and you're walking down the street and you start attracting the attention of all these people and all these kind of fetishists, and your boss is like, oh, it's too arousing to be around you and I can't deal with it. So you lose your job and he fires you. So you come home and you're like, what do I do? So you set up an OnlySocks account and you start making 10K a month, 15K a month. And then you're in this same predicament of how do I charge my services so that I can optimize for lifetime value? So it all comes down to LTV. So how do you cut the cheese? Luckily, it's built into normal life. You charge monthly. And that's because people think in terms of the monthly fees, not the total amount. And most things are billed monthly. If you have a car on finance, if you lease a car, if you have a mortgage payment, rent, these things are all monthly costs. And you don't think about, oh, I spent this much this year on rent. You just think, what's the monthly cost and how does that match up to my monthly salary? Your clients think that way as well, because that's the thing which impacts their life day to day. And it's good for you and it's good for them, because somebody who pays you £100 a month will stay for 2 years and they're going to get much more progress. They're going to transform their physique much more than someone who pays you £300 a month and stays for 2 months and then cancels because it's too expensive. Also, the LTV of the first example is much higher. That's because of the bank statement test. When someone looks at their bank statement every month or every couple of months and they go, oh, I really should cancel that thing. That's a big cost. There is also what Johnny calls the coffee shop test, which is trying to justify to your friends that you've just dropped 5K on a fat loss program. And they're like, what? You spent $5,000 on? I mean, I just used MyFitnessPal. It's £5 a month. Like, to then try and be like, oh no, but I get an accountability call as well. Like, it's very hard to justify. So if you're charging super high ticket and your clients are risking social shaming at a coffee with their friends because of the price of the program, not really something that their friends are going to be like, oh, it was only £5,000 and they made you cry on the phone, did they? Sign me up, sounds brilliant. Generally, the market doesn't spend that much in one go on fitness when there's the Joe Wicks app or Apple Fitness or whatever at a much lower monthly cost. Finally, on the lifetime value thing, I want you to be spending most of your time coaching rather than selling. And if you always charge large upfront amounts and people churn, you're going to be spending a lot of your time trying to generate new sales and treading water. We want you to be in business in 5 years' time, not just a flash in the pan, pump and dump where you're like, hey, I made 20 grand this month, great, and then check in a couple of months later and you've gone bust because it's not a sustainable business model. Generally, if you look at business gurus who recommend the high ticket stuff, look at their testimonials. It's usually influencers who haven't monetized their audience and then they cream off the top of them for an injection of cash that they then can't sustain. There's no stability, there's no lifetime value baked into the business, and also people who sign up for that stuff are kind of in the 10-week booty blaster mindset and they're not in it for the long term. So they end up not being the clients that make progress as well. Okay, so we have covered what they get, how long they stay, and now onto how long it takes you to both sell and deliver the program. So we've established that mid-ticket coaching allows you to meet expectations and over-deliver because you haven't created this kind of huge gap of value that you're not able to bridge, and you can do it in a way that people stay for a long time and make amazing progress. The great thing about that is that the hourly rate is better because the mechanism for selling and delivery is automated, and I'll get on to how that works in a second. You've got enough margin with your front-end cost of £147 where if your challenge converts at say 5% consistently with cold ads, so turning strangers into clients, then you could charge more per unit and still have your ads perform within KPI, which is for us 3 to 5% of cold leads. At that point, it makes sense to increase your price in 10% increments until you find the sweet spot for you. The same goes for your monthly rate as well. So if 75% of people are staying at the 4-month point, then you know that you can comfortably start increasing the monthly price for new clients. Keep old clients the same price because they've been supporting you from the beginning, and you can kind of grandfather them into that price. Because over time, clients generally become less demanding and take up less of your time because they know the drill. Now, if you do increase that monthly rate and then your retention drops off, then you know that you've pushed it a bit far, you've lost revenue per client, bring it back down again. Just surf that sweet spot. So to wrap up how that works, you have your group program deliverables, and we go through all the specifics of how to deliver that, what's included, how often to check in with your clients, all that stuff on this channel. You package all of that into £147 for the first 6 weeks, followed by £97 per month as the ongoing rate. Delivering that at scale up to 100 clients, so £10,000 a month, can be done in roughly the same time commitment each week. You get those clients coming in on autopilot as well, using the automated selling system, your 14-day challenge. So you now have an automated system to get mid-ticket clients in through the door. They have the necessary amount of exposure to your stuff. They build trust on autopilot. You get them in on a monthly recurring program that has a high lifetime value without you having to do a lot of the manual selling. Then you have the dashboard of all of your numbers, your challenge conversion, your front-end price, your ad performance, and your back-end retention, and you can just tweak those things so that they all work together to produce a goal of a stable, profitable online coaching business. So you spend £200 on ads, that generates you 4 new clients at £147. They stay with you for 2 years at £100 a month. The LTV of those clients is £10,000. John switched from the high-ticket sales call model to a mid-ticket challenge model, and his conversion went from 33% to 71%, and he's contracted £16,000 in revenue this month. It's easier to sell and it's easier to retain. So if you want to see how him and other people have built this model in their businesses, you can see this video that goes through the full walkthrough of the entire thing. And if you just want to book in a demo where we can walk you through how it fits in with your business specifically, then click on the link in the description below.